Bar Harbor was a curious town, full of curious people and curious shops. But none were as curious as young Liam. He was always asking questions, which was how. At age 9, he learned the ocean wasn't actually made of candy. One day, while exploring, Liam found an old brass compass. It was unlike any he'd seen before, with strange symbols and markings. But the most peculiar thing about it was that no matter where he went, it always pointed toward the sea. Even when he walked right into the sea, it didn't get wet. And when he looked where it was pointing, he saw only more sea. Curiouser and curiouser. Determined to get to the bottom of it, he followed the compass. After walking what felt like miles, he came across a barely visible path hidden behind some rocks. It wound through the coastal scrubland and ended at a weathered wooden fence. On the other side was a hill, and when Liam reached the top, his breath was taken away. Before him stood an old lighthouse, its windows dark and vacant. But the strangest thing was that a thick white mist surrounded it, as if it were being perpetually shrouded by an endless sea fog. He could feel the air grow colder as he stepped inside. Each room was a jumbled mess of gears, levers, and chains. But as Liam moved from room to room, he noticed something odd. The walls seemed to shift and change, rearranging themselves like a giant puzzle. Then just as suddenly, they'd snap back into place. Startled, Liam turned and saw a glowing blue creature emerge from the shadows. It had large, luminous eyes and a body that seemed to shift and shimmer like light on water. Startled, Liam let out a yelp, but the creature only tilted its head, regarding him curiously. Then, to his surprise, more creatures emerged, each one as beautiful and strange as the last. They surrounded him, their soft glow illuminating the darkness. Then one of them spoke. Its voice was like the tinkling of bells. "Welcome, Liam," it said. "We've been expecting you." Confused, Liam could only stare at them. "You know why we're here?" the creature continued, sensing his confusion. "But do you remember the promise?" Promise. Liam racked his brain, but couldn't think of anything. "If you wish to reach the heart of the lighthouse," the creature said gently, "you must pass through the chambers of bravery, logic, and kindness. These will test your spirit and determine whether you are worthy of the final chamber." And so they led him to 3 ornate doors, each representing one of their traits. The door of bravery flickered with an inner fire. The door of logic glowed with an ethereal light, and the door of kindness shone with a gentle, comforting radiance. Liam took a deep breath and stepped through the first door. Inside was a vast, echoing chamber filled with all manner of scary creatures. Some hissed and snarled, while others loomed and gnashed their teeth. But as Liam ventured deeper into the room, he realized they weren't real. They were only illusions. The next door tested his logic with riddles and mazes, while the third challenged his kindness by making him choose between helping a group of animals or saving a beautiful flower field. But before he could pass, a booming voice echoed through the lighthouse. "Who dares disturb the keeper of the mist?" From the shadows emerged a huge, shadowy figure, its eyes burning like hot coals. "I am the guardian of this place," it boomed, "and no one enters the final chamber without my permission." With a wave of its hand, it unleashed a blast of icy cold air, freezing Liam in his tracks. "That settles it," it growled. "I shall freeze you here forever." But just then, the glowing creatures reappeared, surrounding the keeper. "You misunderstand," one of them said calmly. "He is our chosen one. He has passed the trials and deserves to see the lighthouse heart." The keeper hesitated, then waved its hand, creating a swirling vortex of mist. "Very well," it said gruffly. "Pass through this and I shall show you the way." Inside the swirling mist, Liam found himself in a vast chamber filled with an otherworldly light. In the center was a shimmering pool, and at its edge stood the glowing creatures. One of them approached him, and when it spoke, its voice was filled with urgency. "The lighthouse magic is fading," it said. "Only the purest of heart can restore it. Will you do this, Liam?" Before he could answer, the pool began to drain, and with it, the lighthouse shook, threatening to collapse. In that moment, Liam understood. This was his final test. The creatures were counting on him. Taking a deep breath, he reached out and touched the shimmering surface. In a flash of light, he was no longer in the lighthouse. He was on the rocky coast, the lighthouse nowhere in sight. As he looked around, he saw the mist was gone. Ships were sailing safely through the waters, their lights shining brightly. And then he heard a voice. "Well done, Liam," it said. "You have proven yourself worthy." Turning, he saw the keeper, its form now shimmering and translucent. As a reward, it said, "You may have any wish." Taken aback by the sudden turn of events, Liam thought for a moment. He could have asked for treasure, power, or even immortality. But as he looked at the ship struggling in the mist, he knew what he had to do. "I want to help those ships," he said. And with that, the lighthouse magic surged through him, filling him with warmth and light. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them, he could see the lighthouse once more. With a wave of his hand, the mist began to clear, revealing the path to the lighthouse door. Ships sailed safely through the waters, their lights shining brightly. And for the first time in centuries, the lighthouse was no longer shrouded in mist. As Liam watched, a sense of pride and accomplishment filled him. He realized that the greatest adventures were not just about exploring the unknown, but also about facing one's fears and helping others. And as the sun set over the horizon, casting long shadows on the rocky coast, he knew that he would never forget his journey to the lighthouse beyond the mist.